Today I'll be showing you how to make Maleficent based on a request I got from one of my subscribers who wanted me to make Maleficent from the Tsum Tsum app. Now for Maleficent's body, I'll be using this glow-in-the-dark polymer clay. You can use white clay because her Tsum Tsum actually has a white face, but she always has like this green glow around her, so I definitely wanted to use glow-in-the-dark. Now as with all my other Tsum Tsums, I have Maleficent's body shaped into an oval. What I'll do is I'll start working on her dress. And so I have this piece of purple that I flattened, and it's pretty thin, and so I'll just cut a straight line on the top of it like this, and then I'll measure it because this is just going to go on the end of her. And what I'll do is then I'll just cut triangles out of this to make this have a zigzag shape, because her dress has like these pointy ends, and so I'll just cut that so it has little points to it like this. When you finish cutting out your triangles, you have something that looks like this. And this you'll then just take and drape on the back of her body. And press it down like this so it almost looks like a crown. This is actually the back of her. Now that I've finished doing that, I'll get started on my black. What I'll do is I'll roll this black nice and flat, as thin as the purple one was rolled. And then I'll cut points out of it, out of the end, just like I did with the purple, except this will go on top of the purple. Now I'm cutting off the top of it and leaving a straight line like this, and then I'll measure it to see how far I want the triangles to go, and I'll start making my triangles right here at the bottom. I'll start cutting them out and make them nice and pointy, and then this will drape right on top of the purple. I finished cutting all the triangles out of the black, so what I'll do now is just drape it on top of the body, leaving space for the face and then also the hair, and this will go right on top of the purple. Press down the edges with your finger and then just cut off the excess like that. And you can do the same thing on the other side. Press it down with your finger or the back of your knife like this, and then you cut off the excess. So far your Maleficent should look like this, with the black on top of the purple, and you can curve up the edges if you like to make the dress stick out a little more. And then on the bottom, just press this down flat. Now for Maleficent's hair, I have this piece of black flattened polymer clay and this piece of jewelry wire that I shaped to look like her hairline. All I'm going to do is place the jewelry wire right on top of my clay and press it down, and I'll use this as a guide to cut around the edges. I'll cut around it with my knife. So I'll take this and just cut on the inside of the M until I have the shape of her hairline. Like this. So now that I have this the shape I wanted, I can apply it to her head. And what I'll do is I'll put the V in the front, and then I'll stretch this part backwards so that you can get the little M shape. And I'll do the same thing with this side. Stretch it backwards so the front of it looks like this, and I'll just cut off the excess. Now that I've attached her hair, all I'll be doing is making the center part that she has, the line down the middle. And to do that, I just take my knife and just go right down the middle until she has that little line. Now for her ponytails, I have two pieces of black polymer clay rolled into balls. I'll just roll this one, make it thinner on the top and fatter on the bottom. So now that I've finished making the horns, I'll be attaching them to her hair with two pieces of wire, one on either side of her head. So I'll just slide this down and then press it to the bottom, and then do the same thing with this one. Slide it down and then press it, attach it to the side, and now that it's on, I can shape it. First I'll twist it inwards like this, and then I'll take my finger and I squeeze it and point it upwards like this. I'll do the same thing with the other side. So now that I've finished attaching both horns, I'll be adding a little strip of purple like this that I made into a very thin log, and I'll just put it behind her hair and around her dress. Now that I've finished with her body, I'll be attaching her feet. She needs 4 feet. 2 of them will be glow in the dark, and I'll just roll it into a little tiny log and place one on this side and one on the other side, and then 2 little black feet at the back. So she'll have 2 glow-in-the-dark feet and 2 black feet. Now I've finished with Maleficent's body. She's ready to be baked, but I want to make something a little extra. So I want to make the staff that she holds in her hands. So for that I have a piece of black polymer clay shaped like a log, glow-in-the-dark ball, and then another thinner strip of black polymer clay. I'll attach the ball to the stick with a little piece of wire, just so it doesn't fall off, and I'll slide my ball on top. Then I'll take my thinner piece of polymer clay, and then I'll start at the bottom, and I'll start twisting it around until I get to the top. Twisting it around like this. So that it looks like a snake twisted around a branch. And twist all the way until I get to the top. And then I'll cross over it like this. The last thing I'll do is take this little extra piece of clay and I'll just press it on this side and push it around like this until it looks like this. And just like that, now you have her magical staff. So now that I've finished adding her horns, I'm going to add a tiny little nose, and for this I'm using the glow-in-the-dark polymer clay, and it's just a tiny little circle. And then I'll add these two little round balls for her eyes. Now that I've added the nose, I'll be adding two little green eyes, one on either side of the nose. Like this. And now she has her two eyes in her nose. I'll finish up her face once she's finished baking. So now that Maleficent has finished baking, I colored in the top of her eyes with a black Sharpie, and now I have to color in her eyebrows. Now to make it a little easier, what I did was I sketched them in with a pencil first, because it's much easier to make a mistake with a Sharpie. And I'm just going to go over what I sketched with a black marker. Like this, there's one, and then I'll do the other one. Now I know this video is not very clear, but I wanted to show you how cool Maleficent looks when she glows in the dark. Please subscribe to my channel, post in the comments below, and let me know if there's something that you'd like me to make. Thanks for watching.